Hey guys, so I've got two topics I want to hit briefly today, both of which I think are relatively important. They could be incredibly important, depending on what your strategy is, where you live, and some of this might make an impact on how you strategize by investing crypto. So these came directly from questions in my comment section, and guys, I love your questions. I mean, seriously, probably close to 10 to 20% of my topics do come from you guys. So if you've asked questions before and I tag you in the videos, or you get a notification saying you're tagged, it's because I did a video based off of something that you asked me or you commented down below. So always put your questions down. I love hearing them and responding. But on that, I had one question about taxes, kind of, which again, I'm not a financial advisor, but it was about U.S. crypto, American-based crypto and taxes. And the other one was a slightly larger question about staking. So let's do that second one first. I was asked about staking in general and if I think it's a good idea to stake certain crypto, Supra for example, or any crypto that are worth under a penny, specifically if you have a large amount of them, because this individual said that he heard people say it was a bad idea. And this question kind of threw me off because it just didn't make sense to me. And that this is not meant to be to that individual whatsoever. If anything, it's to whoever else it was that he heard this from. So, with staking. So I asked a few more questions in the comments about it, and it came out to, well, the thought was that you don't make as much if you stake something that is worth very little. Like a couple of cents or less per coin. And I want to attack this head on, because that's just not the way staking works. So, when you stake a crypto, you do not get a percentage of what the crypto is worth. You get a percentage of the amount of crypto that you stake. What I mean by this is, let's use Supra as an example, because that's what the question was about directly. Supra is worth roughly half a penny right now, right? Give or take. So if I put $1,000 of Supra and I stake it at 10%, I'm not going to get 10% of $1,000. I get 10% of the amount of Supra I put in. So this way I don't have to do math off the top of my head. If that $1,000 turned into 100,000 Supra, I would get 10% of 100,000 Supra. They give me more Supra tokens, right? So it actually gets me free crypto, so to speak. So it's actually a good way of bringing down your dollar cost average because you're printing crypto without paying for it, right? It's just usually a locking up, which is something good to note when you stake a crypto, is know what do you have to lock it up for X amount of time. Sometimes when you stake crypto, you have to stake it for at least a week or for at least a month or at least 6 months. Sometimes after you unstake it, you still have to wait 3 days or 10 days. And this is all different depending on which exchange you're on, really what centralized or decentralized exchange you're doing it on, or if you're doing it on a cold wallet, etc. So those factors are good to know. But that aside, I see no issue with staking crypto of any variety, right? I mean, if I have a slightly different example, let's say I stake a crypto that is worth $1,000, right? And I get 10% of it. That means I will get 10% of one of those crypto. Right? So the reason why you can do this in a strategy, or the way I would do this, is I am very much looking at staking Supra during the bear market, and maybe a couple others. I'm looking at maybe Sui or Solana. But I like the idea of staking in either a bear market or anytime that the market is somewhat lateralized and not really moving. Because in the perfect world, I will stake something when it is the cheapest it's going to be. So when it's at like the bottom of a time frame, right? So if there's a huge dip in Supra, good time, in my opinion, to stake it. Because the theory then is that Supra is going to be worth more. So if I'm getting free Supra and I paid half a penny for the ones that I'm staking, maybe in a year when I unstake it and I get all this free Supra, well, now they're worth 1.5 cents maybe. Maybe the price has gone up. So I've gotten free crypto at a higher value than what I staked it at. So hopefully that makes sense. But the cost of the crypto doesn't make a damn difference when you're staking. Even let's say the worst case scenario, you put, let's say you stake Solana at $150, and in 3 months of you staking it, it goes down to $100. Yeah, so your Solana is worth less just like everybody else's, but you still got free Solana that is now worth $100 each. Right? So I like the idea of staking or liquidity pools, which are similar but a little bit more involved. I like doing them either, again, when I think the price action is going to stay the same or go up, or if I'm just waiting. Like I was going to stake my Assemble AI, my ASM. The only reason I didn't is the only place I can really stake it is Gate.io, and I need a VPN, and I don't want to deal with all that kind of stuff. It's just not worth it to me right now. I've had Aerodrome and liquidity pools because it's just sitting there not doing much right now. So I figure I might as well collect an interest, so to speak, and make my crypto work for me. Hopefully that answered that question. If you have any more follow-ups or anything about staking, please let me know in the comments below. So now I just want to quickly answer another question about, it was very direct. It was something to the tune of, do I think that crypto, specifically Americanized crypto, is going to go up in price if Trump is successful in being able to make crypto tax for the American-based crypto free? In short, yes. I think it's going to be a short-term pump, but let's clarify a couple of things. It's not official, but the last thing I heard was that they're trying to make, or would like to make, long-term capital gains tax on US-based crypto 0%. So the individual who asked me this, I don't know if you're a US resident or if you're European or anywhere else I guess you could be, right? But I do think this would still make an impact for everybody, at least short-term. So in the US, short-term capital gains, meaning if you own the crypto for less than a year and you sell it, you owe the tax man 40% of your profits. Straight up. Long-term capital gains, if you have it for longer than a year, it's about 20%. They're looking at knocking off that second part, the long-term 20% gains, for any crypto that is considered officially US. Most of those crypto are going to be very straightforward. CoinMarketCap.com actually already has a segment right now that has lists most of the more common American crypto. Hedera, Ondo, Render, I mean, there's a lot of them. They're probably going to have a little bit of playtime with things like Bitcoin and Ethereum because they're not technically anywhere, Bitcoin specifically, right? I guess Ethereum's a little bit more centralized in the US, but regardless, Bitcoin's mined everywhere. They have ways they can get around that, but let's wait for the official announcements to see how that goes, because they might go by only if you buy it on certain exchanges, only by certain sources, or maybe they'll just make Bitcoin universal. We'll find out. But if this announcement happens, I think that Americanized crypto, specifically the ones that are in the top 200 by market cap, are going to skyrocket short term, because that's just bullish news that people think they understand, right? People hear, oh, zero taxes on US crypto. People are going to flood and just buy the US crypto without thinking about the fact that, well, it's only going to benefit you if you're a US citizen. It's only going to benefit you if you hold it for over a year. But I do think you're going to see great increase in a lot of those crypto for the short term. And then there's always a correction, and people are going to understand what it actually means. Some of the larger ones, depending on if and when this happens, it might hold a lot longer, right? Like if it's during, let's say we get a height of an altcoin season in October, and then they announce it's passing through the House or the Senate, this law about getting rid of long-term capital gains. Well, when it's good news, at times that people are more receptible to good news, like during an altcoin season, it's going to make a larger effect. Versus if they make this announcement in a bear market, it probably won't make as large of an effect on price action. But I kind of think it's going to happen, personally. At least I think there's going to be some decrease in the crypto tax laws. I mean, I have no idea if it's going to actually go 0% for long term. That'd be great. But, typically, art of the deal. Trump's doing this stuff with tariffs right now, right? You ask for the biggest thing you think you can get and then settle for less. So if he tries to push out 0% long term, maybe we settle at 10%. Or maybe they'll even drop the short term by a couple and drop that down to 30 or 20%. I personally don't think that's as likely, but I would love to see it. And because I really don't think they're going to touch the short term gains too much. And the main reason is day traders, right? So I mean, if you have people, the government will make a lot less money from taxes by cutting out short-term capital gains tax. Because I'll tell you, they do that, I'm going to start trading like nobody's business just because I know I don't have as much to lose literally from taxes. Whereas long-term capital gains, getting rid of that, is going to encourage people to hold on, buy, and stake U.S. crypto if you're an American citizen. And I feel like that's the approach they're going for, of encouraging people to invest while not getting rid of one of the larger sources of taxable income, short-term gains. So that's my thoughts on it. Hopefully that made a little bit more sense and helped some of you guys out. As always, let me know in the comments down below any other questions, thoughts, arguments, corrections, etc. I'm open to everything. Thank you guys for being here. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Peace.